Hello, friends, and welcome to Figure Study, where I got breakdown. Yes, Transformers Prime breakdown, in this case, Arms Micron War breakdown, I believe is his name. Essentially, the only non-Legends class breakdown from Transformers Prime, as far as I'm aware. And I don't count the one that's actually Silas. I have been wanting breakdown for a while, as is usually the norm with most of the figures that I get. It's something I've been wanting for a while. Is one of those things where I've been wanting to get him to kind of round out my Transformers Prime collection. Not entirely sure I want to get every single character that was in the show, because if I'm being honest, I think Knockout's toy looks kind of not good. We'll go with that. But I definitely wanted to get Breakdown. Because Breakdown is so difficult to find, especially in the aftermarket, especially so many years after the fact, and especially because he was never actually released in the States, as far as I'm aware, some concessions had to be made, because I was not about to spend $200 to $300 on a complete breakdown. As much as I want to round out my Prime collection, I am just no. Nuh-uh, no. However, this one was on sale on eBay for a much less intense price. Still paid way more than he would have gone for back in the day, as an import even, but definitely less than $200. So thank goodness for that. Of course, the caveat there is he did not come with his Arms Micron or any stickers. So this breakdown that we're looking at right now is just what you get out of the box. No stickers or anything. The reason I wanted to cover him now is because my intention is to go in and do some custom painting so that I can get him looking more show accurate. But I felt compelled to look at him as he is right now before I do any customizing, because I feel like once I do the customizing, I really shouldn't do a figure study video on him. So we're doing it now. And yeah, Breakdown is a big old armored truck SUV looking thing, as he is in the show. I actually used to have the Arms Micron Swerve figure, and it's a cool mold and all that, but I wasn't really, it was Swerve, it wasn't Breakdown. I wanted Breakdown because Breakdown was in the show. And he does look cool. He's this really very boxy, sturdy looking thing. And there is some nice molded detail in there, like the lights there and the smaller lights there, the grille, the bumper that's actually a separate color. The windows are translucent, but that's fine. It doesn't really look into a bunch of nasty robot junk, really. And, well, you can kind of see through there. You don't really get to see in that well, so that's fine. Got door handles, little footsteppy thing, some windows up along here that I'll probably want to paint eventually. The tires definitely, I feel like, could use some love in the wheel well there. Not in the wheel well, in the hubcaps. And on the back as well. It's basically just a big old block of blue with some silver side mirrors, which I do appreciate the paint there, and some windows, and yeah, not a whole lot in terms of painted detail because he was supposed to have stickers and he didn't come with stickers. But I already explained that bit. So yeah, I mean, I'm not typically enamored with alt modes regardless, but this one looks fine, and I think it's kind of a neat sort of... It's the thing that I always liked about Prime, is that you've got these familiar-ish looking vehicles, but they're also slightly stylized in a way that makes them look a little bit cartoony, but in a good way. And Breakdown's definitely got that going on. So let's move him back and adjust a little bit so we can do our size comparisons. Kicking things off with a not quite armored vehicle, but still a very bulky, boxy looking vehicle. Here he is with Siege Hound and, Voyager Deluxe. It's about what you'd expect. There he is with the Duck Tank. And because it's Breakdown, I feel like I really do have to do a side-by-side with his rival. So here he is with Bulkhead, specifically the first edition Bulkhead. Alright, so seeing as how Breakdown is just a blue box, basically, not a lot of features to talk about at this point other than the molding that I've already gone over and the handful of colors. Let's get to that robot mode, and this is going to be a little tricky for me because I'm not super used to this transformation because it's been a while, but we'll see how it goes. And here we have Breakdown in his robot mode, and even without the extra detailing, this still looks pretty darn good. A lot of that has to do with the fact that there is more color in this than just a big old block of blue. Like, he's got the gray feet with a little bit of light gray in there. Of course, the light gray for the thighs and the pelvis, light gray in the shoulders, and then darker gray for the hands, elbows, a little bit in the joints there, the midsection. And of course, the blue is still there. I always really liked Breakdown's frame. He's got that really nicely broad chest and the truck hood that actually separates out to broaden it even further. Very boxy, powerful looking shoulders, and these somewhat superfluous details just kind of jut up a little bit. I still think those look cool. He definitely looks like an adequate rival to Bulkhead, which we will see in a minute. But as for the rest of him, since this is a Transformers Prime figure, there's not a ton of molded detail and texture in there, but there is some. Specifically like around the pelvis, a little bit in the knee guard detailing, the midsection there. Again, I really like how the hood for the truck actually is the chest. There's no cheat going on there as far as I know. And the way it kind of broadens out is cool. Nice detailing in the shoulders there. Little mechanical bits peeking through, and the hands. I'm not super keen on this hanging over and like completely covering the hand, but I feel like given the original price point of this guy and size class and all that, I think it's fine. And then we come to the head, and that is definitely Prime Breakdown, and that is pretty great. There's something very striking to me about this head. I think it is definitely the bright red face, but it stands out so well, and we'll talk about this more when I, pull back from the detail, but it stands out so well among the rest of the body. And it's really nicely detailed, too. Like, the back isn't painted entirely, but it works because the silver bits in the front and the sides and that blue stripe across the top do go around towards the back of the head. And he's got those nice yellow eyes that pop very nicely with the red face. He's got a very kind of distinct helmet, too. It's this kind of vaguely diamond shape overall that I don't recall seeing that often. Though, as I'm thinking about it, a lot of the Decepticon faces in Prime had very, very angular features. Like, Soundwave was practically an upside-down triangle. Arachnid was kind of the same thing, but with the Maleficent horns. Starscream was very pointy. I don't know, maybe it's just part of the design aesthetic they wanted to go for to differentiate the bad guys. And now looking at Breakdown from a bit more of a distance, here you can see how that head stands out really, really nicely. And even in the cartoon, I always liked how that head and face contrasted with the rest of his body. Anyway, since there are no stickers or any additional paint for me to look at currently, let's just get to those size comparisons. So, here is Breakdown with Siege Hound, and while he's not a lot taller, he's still definitely got that Voyager height over the Deluxe height. And on top of that, he has got way more bulk to him than Hound does. Like, he is broad. Duck Tank. And once again, because of course, here he is with Bulkhead, specifically the first edition Bulkhead. And granted, I did rewatch Prime maybe about a month or two ago, maybe 3 months ago at this point. Jeez, time flies. But I feel like these two were either about the same size or Breakdown was slightly bigger than Bulkhead. So in terms of cartoon accuracy, I feel like this scale might be a little off. Though there's also the fact that this is not the standard Voyager Bulkhead. This is the first edition Bulkhead. And I think the standard Voyager is a bit smaller. I know the engineering's different, but I don't have that one. I only have the first edition, so this is the comparison we're making. They still look good together, just size differences. And that, I think, is going to do it for Breakdown. I am so glad I was finally able to get my hands on this guy because he has definitely been on my short list for a while. And yeah, it sucks that he doesn't have his Micron, and it sucks that he didn't come with the stickers, although realistically, I was kind of glad I got one without stickers because the ARMS Micron stickers, they have a tendency to want to peel, at least with the figures I've had in the past. so I feel like paint might go over a little bit better. Does kind of suck not having the arms Micron, because I feel like it would be cool to be able to give him his Warhammer and then give Bulkhead his mace, have them squaring off like that, but it's fine. I'm way more happy about getting Breakdown for a price that wasn't completely obscene if it means not getting his little hammer. I feel like Shapeways probably has an alternative, like just a hammer accessory or something. Or maybe sometime down the road I'll get the arms Micron on its own, who knows. But anyway, even without the added paint that I'm intending to add now that this video is over, I do think Breakdown is pretty darn cool. Realistically speaking, I do not think he is worth what I paid. I do not think he is worth the aftermarket price at all, because at the end of the day, he is just a standard, typical Voyager-class Transformers Prime figure. There's nothing overtly special about him, other than the fact that he just wasn't available in the States and got a pretty limited release, all things considered. But I am glad I got him. Regardless of the fact that I don't think he is technically worth what I paid, I am still glad I got him, because I really wanted to fill out that void in my Transformers Prime collection, and now I did, and I paid less for him than I would have if I went with a complete one. Anyway, that is going to do it for Breakdown. What do you all think? Do any of you out there have Breakdown? Were you able to get him for his regular import price, as opposed to paying the exorbitant aftermarket prices? Am I being unfair or unreasonable or just plain wrong when I assume that the arms Micron stickers would start peeling? If you have the standard Voyager Bulkhead, does Breakdown actually scale better with him? I'm not entirely sure. And I know the Silas version of him is available for a little bit cheaper, but in my mind, I just really wanted the standard Breakdown. But which one do you all prefer? I mean, the Silas one isn't bad. I think it's cool how he's got the one damaged monocle eye and the darker gray color scheme and that big chrome grille. But, it's Silas, it's not Breakdown. And what the heck, I will pose this question to you all as well. Do you think I should just say screw it and get Knockout so that I can have the, I was going to say dynamic duo, but they're not really dynamic. Evil odd couple, I guess? Do you think it'd be worth it for me to try and track down Knockout, regardless of the fact that his toy doesn't seem all that great? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud and wasting time at this point. Anyway, whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. And while you're at it, also feel free to like or subscribe. Any of those things would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye, even if it doesn't have the stickers that it was supposed to come with, but hey, it saved me money.